We are following the measles epidemic every day. I think there's 124 people who have contracted measles at this point, mainly in Gaines County, Texas. Mainly, we're told, in the Mennonite community. There are 2 people who have died, but we're watching it, and there are about 20 people hospitalized, mainly for quarantine. We're watching it. We put out a post on it yesterday, and we're going to continue to follow it.
Donald Trump is not right. We have known this for a long time. We saw his cognitive decline play out again and again and again on the campaign trail. We're seeing it more and more in his presidency as well. But it seems like the McDonald's and lack of sleep is catching up to Donald Trump because it's showing in his physical appearance as well, and the White House is scrambling to cover it up. Because if we know one thing about Donald Trump, it's that he likes to pretend he's strong when in fact he is weak. And we are going to get into all of this and the cover-up. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way. And it does mean a lot to me now. Before we get into the White House's panicked response, we have to start with what with the bit of a theory around Donald Trump's health is from James Carville right here.
I was going to comment on something else, but it's impossible for me to ignore the events in the Oval Office earlier today. It's stunning. I think anybody watches this saw it. And I'm torn for an explanation, but there's something clear. There's an expression here in South Louisiana. It's not totally true, but it's you mostly hear it from Black people. And they'll say, that boy ain't right. And if somebody's obviously having some kind of a personality disorder or whatever. Well, when you look at Trump, the first thing that comes to your mind, that boy ain't right. And we've seen so much, and we've gotten so hoo-ha, and all of the crazy things that he does, we've kind of become immune to him. Or, I mean, it's almost like a yawn. And this one just stuck out as something really, even by Trumpian standards, was hard to do something extraordinary. And us being rational people, us being people that believe in reason, are going to tend to wonder, what was the cause of this? What was the cause of this? A man who's obviously for a long time been in decline, who's fat, who doesn't sleep at night, who eats nothing but hamburgers and crap, who's almost 80 years old. There's a tendency to just ascribe it to the normal process of being overweight and having a bad diet and lack of sleep and accumulation of age. But I'm not sure that explains something as dramatic today. And I'm a guy, I like to ask questions. I like to speculate on things, but that's why we have this YouTube channel. That's why you viewers and listeners, that's why we get along as well as we do. And I want to see the possibility that maybe I had a point considerably earlier than this when I pointed out on this very channel where Trump had red splotches on his hand, which I was told by any number of medical professionals that when you see that condition, the first thing that you suspect is syphilis. We know from any number of videos that his wife doesn't want to get in the same zip code as him. If you had a spouse that had syphilis, I'm not saying he does. I mean, let me be clear. I'm just asking questions. But what you saw is madness. And I don't mean madness like I'm mad at you, you mad at me, you didn't say this. I'm talking about madness like King George III kind of madness. And it could be a combination of being a fat fucking slob, which of course he is. It could be that he's can't sleep at night because his beached whale body can't allow the circulation it needs. I don't know. I'm not a sleep specialist or a medical doctor. But I think we should revisit the possibility of a syphilis diagnosis. And I know a lot of people that watch this channel, or some of you, or we get any number of MDs and professionals that are getting the comments, and some of you just well-informed citizens. But I don't think we can discount the fact that what we saw was mad. I'm not going to concede that I'm just asking questions. I'm just making an observation that everyone saw. We know that boy ain't right.
This is not a show usually where we're doing what one might call a conspiracy. I don't think it is, though. I think it's, as Rogan likes to say, just asking questions, and considering we never got a report after Donald Trump's assassination attempt of what his medical status was, we can only kind of believe that it's not so great, right? Especially when there are so many symptoms presenting themselves. And I've got two for you. The first was on Trump's hand. The second was in his legs. Let's take a look at the clip of his legs first. White House says that a large bruise on Trump's hand is from shaking hands all day, every day. The bruise on the back of the president's hand was visible during his visit with French President Emmanuel Macron at the White House. Here is that really gross image of Trump's hand. The White House is attributing a large bruise on the back of Donald Trump's hand to him. Shaking hands, the bruise was visible during Trump's visit with the French President Emmanuel Macron at the White House. On Monday, President Trump is a man of the people. White House Press Secretary Carolyn said, adding his commitment is unwavering, and he proves that every single day President Trump has bruises on his hand because he's constantly working and shaking hands all day, every day. Levitt added in a follow-up statement, Trump has had visible bruising or redness on his right hand, or on at least two other occasions in August and November of last year, according to NBC News. So we saw him kind of wobbling around on the golf course, and now the bruise on his hand, which has been there before. Why just now? You think he would be shaking more hands on the campaign trail. Why didn't we see it more on the campaign trail if this is just a bruise? Why was it red if it was just a bruise? I don't see a lot of red bruises, and again, we don't necessarily love to do the conspiracy thing on this channel, but it's not. We are just asking actual questions. All the media ever wanted to talk about when Joe Biden was president was his health, his mental fitness. Why can't we ask the same questions which don't get any answers? I think that's pretty fair. There seems like there are real health concerns here. Speaking of health concerns, it's not just Donald Trump, it's also RFK Jr., who seems fine, like the rest of the White House, ignoring health concerns and not talking to the media about them and letting them run free. And we're seeing that in a very scary way that Rachel Maddow covered right here.
We are following the measles epidemic every day. I think there's 124 people who have contracted measles at this point, mainly in Gaines County, Texas. Mainly, we're told in the Mennonite community. There are 2 people who have died, but we're watching it, and there are about 20 people hospitalized, mainly for quarantine. We're watching it. We put out a post on it yesterday, and we're going to continue to follow it.
Local health authorities say it is not 2 people who have died. It is 1 person who has died, an unvaccinated school-age child. Why he thinks it's 2 people who have died and not 1, we don't know. Also, the people who are hospitalized are not being hospitalized for quarantine, as he described it, which makes it seem like they're fine. They're just being kept in a room, right? No, they've been hospitalized for respiratory distress and other serious and potential fatal symptoms of measles, which can kill you and which has already killed a child in this outbreak. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wrote a whole book about the measles in which he said that, quote, measles outbreaks have been fabricated to create fear. He wrote at the website of his anti-vaccine group that getting measles is actually good for you. He says it's good for your heart to get measles. Reduces the risk of some cancers and heart disease and stuff. It's great. Donald Trump put him in charge of Health and Human Services for the whole country. And that means he's in charge of taking care of this explosive measles outbreak in West Texas and New Mexico. Good call. Safe hands.
This is incredibly scary. As I continue to say, the people in the Trump White House aren't just dangerous. They are dumb. Their incompetence is putting us in harm's way. And they honestly don't seem to care. And that's kind of the point. They love the distrust in government. Sure, they want people to like them, but being uncomfortable with institutions more broadly, that's the point. They want them to fall apart. They want people to resent their government. They want people to resent experts. They want to break up that trust in society. If they can do so, they can go after whatever they want. It is their point to make you pessimistic. It is their point to make you think that you lack agency. That is not true. You still have the ability to call these people out, still have the ability to fight back against them, still have the ability to call them out. And we certainly saw that call out of RFK Jr. and a clip right here.
Concern about the need for science to help us move forward on critical issues. Now, some of you are new to this committee and new to the Senate, so you may not know that I am the proud mother of a 36-year-old young man with severe cerebral palsy. And a day does not go by when I don't think about what did I do when I was pregnant with him that might have caused the hydrocephalus that has so impacted his life. So please do not suggest that anybody in this body of either political party doesn't want to know what the cause of autism is. Do you know how many friends I have with children who have autism? The problem with this witness's response on the autism cause and the relationship to vaccines is because he's relitigating and churning settled science so we can't go forward and find out what the cause of autism is and treat these kids and help these families. Mr. Kennedy, that first autism...
This absolutely needs more attention. I was worried about how Democrats would message against RFK Jr. because of the persona that's presented online of, we're going to make America healthy. And of course, that's a great ambition, but it's not the actual one. That he has nothing could make America healthier again, healthier than protecting settled science and investing in vaccines, not cutting off cancer, research, Alzheimer's research. These are not improving Americans. Health attacking Medicaid, shutting down rural hospitals. Certainly not. But I was worried about RFK Jr. because he presents himself that way. These very specific localized examples will help us to combat that the national narrative kind of gets washed out in the shuffle and people just get their clips. And we know that Meta and TikTok and Twitter are not serving them the truth in those clips. So we gotta be hyper specific and be as loud as we can. It's what we're doing on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, you can leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments, and until next time, I'll see you soon.